Today's video is about Chris Wyatt and his vulgar behavior on a live stream he did on July 14, 2026. The stream is titled Losing Faith in Humanity. I will be providing quotes from him in his video with my responses. However, you can go and watch this video in order to see and hear him for yourself. In this video, I will be providing proof of how Chris Wyatt not only does what he accuses others of, but how he himself lies. I will provide timestamps with each quote I provide from him. Side note, there is no video made by the behavior panel regarding Chris Wyatt. I have done searches based on what he said and now convey the information I found. Timestamp 431, Chris says. You know, the jealousy and the nastiness of people, stealing other people's content, slandering them, besmirching them, and then playing the victim. He then chuckles, it's pretty funny, it's pretty sad. My response, there is no stealing of your content, people only play your videos or your voice to expose you for who you are to the world. What is clear in this video especially, is you slandering people, you besmirching people, and you playing the victim. You're projecting. Timestamp 11:47, Chris says, today, a friend of mine whom I've known for many years in South Africa, sent me a link, and asked, what's wrong with this person? It is a video from a couple of months ago, when I did a video about a family that, threatened to go back. And they said it repeatedly, and they said it to multiple in multiple circumstances, multiple people verify this. My response, what's with the repetition of the word multiple? Here's what the behavior panel say about an instance such as this. Lying takes an immense amount of brain power, but accusing someone else of the very thing you are guilty of takes even more. The brain must simultaneously suppress the truth, construct a plausible false narrative, and monitor the listener's reaction to see if they are buying it. In this case, the live chat. It goes on with a verbal anchor, the behavior panel often notes. When someone repeats a word or phrase with increasing vocal force, it is often an attempt to beat the listener into believing them. It is self-soothing behavior mixed with aggressive persuasion. Timestamp 1818, Chris says, I mean, I've had the patience of a saint to deal with these retards and their nonsense, and stealing my content, lying about me. My response, what patience? You went ballistic in several of your previous videos about what people said about you. Calling people retards will not give you any moral high ground. Timestamp 2143, Chris says when replying to a comment in the comment section, yeah Henry, yeah, well, let me read some of the things, it just shows you that the coffee drinkers, let's recount a few things, okay. So, back in 2020, I was contacted by Scott Bolsone. He asked me to come on his channel, I agreed and asked him to come on my channel, he said yes he will do it. So, I went on to his channel, I was on there for over an hour, I answered every one of his questions, I didn't evade a single question, he's a lying sack of horse manure. Later, falsely claiming that when his feelings were hurt. My response, in such an instance, the behavior panel notes that true, settled memories of past injustices generally carry less raw, present tense venom over time. Shifting into the present tense to hurl an insult suggests the speaker is trying to sell a narrative right now, rather than simply recalling what happened. Don't like it, Chris? Deal with it. Timestamp 25:16, Chris says, then he, Scott Bolsone, made a video, in which he said, aha. We've got the proof, we've got the outants, a CIA, this fuckwad is the one who started this bullshit about me working for the CIA, you know, he's getting his just desserts from God in heaven for his ailments now, that's how God treats him, for the way he's been treating other human beings. My response from the behavior panel, HIG impedance insults, this fuckwad, example. Resorting to highly aggressive name-calling in the middle of explaining a situation is what the panel refers to as character assassination used as a defense shield. The tell, instead of relying entirely on the strength of the objective evidence they claim to have, the speaker uses a vulgar insult to bias the audience against the target. By reducing the other person to a derogatory term, the speaker is attempting to manipulate the listener into adopting an immediate, negative moral judgment against the accused, drawing attention away from the facts of the story. One of the most telling parts of this statement is the sudden pivot to spiritual justification. The speaker claims that the target's physical ailments are direct punishment from God. Deflection and self-soothing. The behavior panel frequently notes that when individuals cannot fully resolve a conflict with facts or logic, they will outsource authority to a higher, unarguable power, like God. Moral elevating. By framing themselves as the passive observer of God's wrath, the speaker is trying to elevate their own moral standing. It serves as a profound self-soothing mechanism. It justifies the speaker's deep anger. My own response. Chris Wyatt, who do you think you are, sitting in judgment of others and deciding on behalf of God who is punished, how they are punished and for what they are punished? I don't think I can begin to describe the level of arrogance and willful ignorance. Even more disgusting and vulgar is that you use that foul language to insult people and in the same breath you want to use God as your weapon. I would be very careful. God is not your playmate. What will you do, God forbid, if you get ailments yourself, as a result of using God in this manner? Timestamp 1654, Chris says, and this piece of human sludge called me a so-called colonel. You know, that little fuckwad had never done anything in his life except hide in Australia. Anyway, so, he attacked me with his bullshit, and then, you know, from then on it was game on, and he just kept attacking me, and every time he attacked me, I just destroyed him with his stupid stuff. My response, instead of giving adult, clear-minded, professional and rational responses, he resorts to insults and childishness. This, a retired decorated U.S. Army colonel. Bringing disgrace to independent journalism and the U.S. Army. Timestamp 34:22, Chris says. Well, this all stems because of this sickening picture that some hate wanker put together, of this woman being beaten by two images. One looks like Professor G and one looks like me. Those two people, someone's gonna take them to the woodshed for their conduct one day, hopefully, legally. Yeah, and I know exactly who you are, and I know exactly what your Facebook username is. A doom prophet. Well, I hope that these people, I've never wish ill on people, but these people whose names I have, I hope you are denied, talking about the refugee program, I really do, because, people like you don't deserve to come here. My response, well, Chris, let me take you to the woodshed for your conduct with this video. Hopefully legally? What exact other method do you imply here? Because you are implying something here, then you go on to say you know who they are and what their Facebook username is. How exactly is that not a threat? We can deduce what your intent is here. Timestamp 36:47, Chris says, good on you, because that's exactly what this person has done. Exactly what this person has done. Well, she's not a woman, she's a vile repulsive snake. My response. It seems to me that she's a vile repulsive snake in your opinion, because she's showing and telling people what you do and say. Well, isn't that just evil directly from hell? Yes, sarcasm. Timestamp 37:36, Chris says when it suits him, he talks about the refugee program, then he wants to be a political pundit, then he wants to be an independent journalist. Well, first off, I am an independent journalist, I am an accredited journalist, so thank you very much dumbass. Accredited with the South African government, accredited with the US government, accredited with PAC convention, accredited with multiple rugby clubs, so yes, I am an independent journalist, and I'm published in newspapers around the world. My response, he contradicts himself, he says he is an independent journalist, and then goes on to say that he is an accredited journalist. Then, once again, he says he is an independent journalist. A simple search reveals the following. There is no record of retired U.S. Army Colonel Chris Wyatt holding an official diplomatic or military accreditation to South Africa. However, he is highly recognized, discussed, and credited, not accredited, in the South African public sphere for his work in the following areas: commentary and independent journalism, the South African Refugee Program, U.S., and Sub-Saharan Africa military expertise. While he refers to his work as independent journalism and runs a media platform, Chris Wyatt reports / All About Africa, He operates as an independent content creator, commentator, and geopolitical analyst rather than an accredited member of the press. In summary, Chris is a retired military intelligence officer and geopolitical analyst who runs an independent commentary channel, not a classically accredited U.S. journalist. Timestamp 38:22, Chris says, when he comes to South Africa, the e-begging is off the charts. Really? When have I been e-begging in South Africa? You're just a lying sack of shit, and I know your name, and I know where you're at, I know where you're at, Miss Anderson, I know where you're at and I know who you are, so, you should be careful what you say. My response, there can be no doubt that this is a threat, and were I, one Miss Anderson, I would take legal action. Irrespective of what she said, you made a threat and you recorded yourself making that threat. If it is all lies, why not just point it out? Why the need to call her a lying sack of shit? The threat indicates to me that there is something there, as if you are trying to get her to be quiet, or else you, Chris Wyatt, are shameless, immature, ill-mannered, foul-mouthed and unprofessional. You yourself don't deserve a platform on social media as a whole with this behavior. Saying all of that disgusting, vile things about others is not justification for what they say about you. By doing that, you left yourself with no moral high ground to stand on. There you have it. I really do suggest you go and watch this video, hear for yourself from the horse's mouth. The threats are very concerning, as I too was threatened. A YouTube account was created with my name and surname, which commented in a live stream of another YouTuber I was watching and typed, "Hello all, Chris Wyatt has my email address, and as such, my name and surname." He threatens anyone who speaks against him, as you can hear for yourself. Now, does this sound like a man who is not guilty of anything and who has nothing to hide? This is unacceptable and it needs to stop, as soon as possible. I will monitor the situation and update you should there be any further threats. My channel is originally about glitches in the Matrix, time travel, Mandela effects and the like. Please subscribe, like and smash the bell icon. I will post more on these topics shortly. Your support is greatly appreciated. Thank you.